Hello, I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Caroline, and we're interior designers. More and more people are asking us about what we do and how we do it.
Which brings us to our new design adventure, the Design Duet. Join us as we discuss the ins and outs and the ups and downs of interior design.
Today we're thrilled to be joined by Rachel Lacy, colour lead at Haymes Paints. If you've ever stood in front of a wall of paint swatches feeling completely overwhelmed, this is the episode for you.
Rachel has one of the most inspiring jobs. She leads colour forecasting and direction at Haymes, working on the palettes that influence how we decorate our homes and how we feel in our spaces. We're going to talk about trends, colour psychology, and practical advice for anyone wanting to get braver with paint.
So, Rachel, can you tell us a little bit about your role as colour lead at Haymes and what your day-to-day looks like?
I can, and actually, interestingly enough, I was at a design show and I had recently where we exhibited, and I had so many women come up to me and say, "How do I get your job?"
There you go.
So
They think it's easy?
Well, I think interesting, I'm hoping. So the responsibilities for the role of colour lead, so that varies enormously across paint companies depending on the size of the paint company and how integrated the teams are. So if previous to my role at Haymes, for example, I worked at PPG. So PPG owns the Taubmans brand in Australia, and that's the largest coating company in the world.
Right.
So their marketing team is incredibly siloed from their lab team. And so they have very different functions. So the colour lead in that job was very much about palettes and forecasting. When I moved over to Haymes, which is a smaller company and incredibly nimble, the lab and the marketing team work really closely together, which is fantastic for me because that's what interests me, is this juncture of where colour sits between art and science.
Okay.
I think if I just had to do forecasting all day long, I would find that really, really dull. It's interesting as a broader part of a role, but it's a little bit stick your finger in the air, like it's... I like the science of it as well. Yeah. So, and I think potentially for the industry, I'm probably a tiny bit of an outlier in that I have worked and I have worked in the labs. I've got some patents under my name for pigment technology, and I've also worked in the colour marketing side of the paint companies. I've been doing it for 30 years. I've been doing it longer than Oasis.
Fantastic.
And better.
So it's enormously varied. And I think I was saying, at the design fairs we were at this year, I had a lot of women coming up and asking me what would I need to do to get your job? And I think it's that variation that's interesting, that colour across the whole gamut of it.
I love that, which leads into the next question. How did you find your way into the world of colour? Was it always passion or did it evolve through design experience?
So my father was an architect in New Zealand. He was a NZIA gold medal winning, so he was a well-known architect, and my mother had a paint company.
Oh, no way.
Really unusual.
That's great.
Yeah, and she would have been... it's fascinating. It's an industry run by men where women make 90% of the design decisions, but, whatever.
Yeah.
She started up a paint company. She started making colours for my father's houses in the garage. Everyone liked them. So she set up a little shop. She ended up making Farrow & Ball. She was the only person that's ever made Farrow & Ball outside of the UK under licence.
Right.
And then she developed her own palette. And so she had 7 shops across Australia and New Zealand.
And what were they called?
Outlow Colour.
Outlow Colour.
Alto.
Oh, Alto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was one here in Prahran.
There was.
Yeah.
There was. So
I remember that.
That was my mother's paint company.
Oh, no way. I loved using their paints.
She was such a trailblazer in her field. She believed in multi-pigmenting colour. She made colour in a really unique way. But she had the 7 shops, and after about 10 years, I had 4 children under 4, which I did for about 3. I know, it was
crazy.
There was a set of twins. But after about 3 or 5 years, I was like, Mum, but it's boring. I'm done.
Yeah.
And she was, at that stage with her business, it had become about franchise agreements and things that didn't interest her. So we swapped. So she looked after the children and I took over the business.
Oh, I love this.
it.
Yeah, it was great. I just went, you have them.
So you had that in your blood.
Look, I started at 18 when she first started the business, and I'd be out the back making paint.
Amazing.
We had no idea what we were doing, and she'd say, "Is it done?" I was like, "No, just keep them talking." I tried to make the colours. I've been doing it for a long time.
You certainly
Fantastic.
have.
So what does lead in colour at Haymes really mean? Is it more about forecasting, developing palettes, or helping customers make confident choices?
Honestly, it depends what day of the week it is. What we have just done at the moment is we've designed a new colour space. So Haymes has been working on its own proprietary colour space for a number of years, and it was sitting in the lab. And we were like, okay, let's own this. Let's take this to market. It's a beautiful colour space.
What do you mean colour space?
So if you think of the Dulux Atlas or the Taubman's Van Dyck, that's the colour space that company occupies. And we all design our colour spaces a bit differently. Interestingly enough, and I hope this will be interesting for your listeners, but paint colour is all made the same way. So Porter's, Farrow & Ball, Dulux, Taubman's, Haymes, we all make colour the same way. So the materiality of our colour isn't any different. We might select to make different colours, but we make them the same way. So none of us are using natural mids.
Yeah.
We all have the same colourants on the paint shop tinting wheel. We all use as minimal amount of colourants as possible, unlike my mother's business, because it makes it easier to select a colour in a big box and then take it at home because you get less metamerism, and I can go into that if that's of interest. So a huge part of it's branding between how those paint companies approach that. But we all have a slightly different colour space. And Haymes' colour space is designed so that our saturated colours keep their depth. They're muted, but they keep the depth of colour. And then as we move into the lighter scale, we bring that chromatic colour in and produce lighter colours. So we've designed our colour space so our deep colours work beautifully well as our light colours, but they're actually two different scientific approaches. So we have a hybrid model. Okay. So that's what I mean about how the science and the art's really interesting. Like you go into a paint shop and you're sort of overwhelmed by all those, and no one needs 2,000 colours on a wall. That's about real estate and big box. It's not about helping the consumer. But there's so much that goes behind that in terms of how that colour system is designed.
And that's what you work on?
That's what I work on with the lab team at Haymes. At a company like PPG, if you're in the marketing team, you're much less involved in that.
Right.
Because there's that sort of separation of church and state in those larger companies, which is why Haymes really appealed to me, because I felt like I could use my experience more usefully there than elsewhere.
Yeah, fabulous. I love that.
You've maybe kind of answered this question, but Haymes is known for its beautiful colour forecast releases. Can you share how those forecasts are developed?
Well, I haven't done one under my tenure, so that would be the work of my predecessor, Wendy Rennie, who was great. So she put those together for about 18 years for Haymes, I think. I guess my approach for forecasting, and I can't speak to Wendy's, so for me, paint travels in decades. It doesn't travel in years. So we've had... we had the first 10 years, we had all the onion colours, and then we had the beiges, and then we had the greys.
Yes.
It's not something that changes every year. Yeah. So, and I'm also not sure it's hugely useful to the consumer to come up with something brand new every year that they then have to digest. So we try and stay, and I'm pretty sure Andrea at Dulux has a similar approach, and we try and keep the palettes moving from year to year in a way that's familiar. You don't zoom off the course.
So for like the 2010s, it was more grey.
Yeah, 100, absolutely. Yeah. We didn't go grey one year and the next.
Yeah, yes.
What interests me with colour forecasting is looking at the much bigger picture, so that economic and political movements that are happening. What fascinates me at the moment is ageing populations. So we think the average age in Europe at the moment is 40, and I think in Africa it's about 19. So Europe's almost twice as old.
Yeah, right.
How is that going to shape the next 5 to 10 to 15 years in terms of what we see? And I think that's really fascinating, because that will determine the colours that we see.
God, you've got me thinking.
Yeah, that's right.
As opposed to just thinking, I mean, we look at catwalks, we all do that. All forecasters do that. We look at homeware trends.
It all goes hand in hand.
It does. But I think you also need to just take a step back and think, hold on, what's happening globally? What's happening with populations? And if you think countries like Japan and Italy aren't going to survive unless they improve their immigration quotas because there's going to be no one to look after the old people.
Yeah.
And so what's Nambia and Rome like as a style, as a
So what are you saying? They need fresh colours?
they need fresh people.
Fresh people, fresh colours.
And they'll bring their culture.
Their culture and their
that's
colour.
right. And then what do we end up with? I think Africa's fascinating. I also think, Central and South America, these countries with these young populations are going to impact the colours that we choose to put on our walls in 10 years.
Yeah, right.
That
because that is fascinating because my next question to you would have been something about what inspires a new colour, a new, colour story, if you like. Is it fashion? Is it art? Is it, and you're saying,
it's all of those.
It can be nature, travel, but cultural shifts as well.
And
it is.
Ageing.
It is all of those. I mean, I think if you're going to produce a useful forecast, and a lot of the thing with forecasting these days is a huge amount of it is around narrative. If you think Dulux they've been choosing colours from their atlas for their forecast for 30 years, so they're not making new colours.
Sure.
And so a lot of that is the story and the narrative that they tell. And I think quite often consumers aren't really aware of the sort of how much that shapes what they're looking at. I think they just think, here's a nice palette, but actually there has to be a story around it or it floats out there in isolation.
Yeah.
And we know, I mean, I thought if one more paint company put out a nurturing palette, I was going to punch myself.
But do you think that's a direct reflection of COVID?
100%.
Yes.
Please make it be over.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, for you, it needs to be over.
I just don't want another nurturing palette.
No.
You want hardcore.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we did actually, this year we produced a colour called Boundless Blue, which we made with a pigment not found in the paint shop tinting wheel. We only did 100 litres of it. It launches in October, and it's made with the ultramarine blue that we bring in from France.
Beautiful.
And that is a new colour, and that just wakes, like, it is incredibly. It's got a 60% pigment load. It's an incredibly vivid, incredibly bright colour. I just wanted something so people could just get a little bit of just carpe
intensity.
diem. Yeah, just a little bit of come on. Like,
be bold.
get into it,
So have you just given us a tip of the year
I've just written that down. Yeah.
that not very many people know about?
No, not many people know about it.
Okay.
It was also done to celebrate Haymes' 90 years.
Okay, fantastic.
So it's ultramarine blue, so it's kind of that blue sky thinking of the innovation that comes out of the Haymes labs. There's no way you'd be able to do that at a large multinational because it's not about revenue, it's about storytelling.
Okay.
And it was just, the fact that we could bring that pigment in and make that colour. You
love
have
it.
to sort of see it to believe it,
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Have to be brave.
Absolutely.
Well,
It's only for a small bit in your house, like it's just for a small moment.
Front door.
It's actually because it's surface localized pigment technology, so the pigment sits right on the surface of the coating, so it's very soft. It's about it. We make really good products in terms of coating performance. This is about colour. It's about art. It's about something that's not durable.
Yes. Right. So you might find artists on that one.
It just speaks loudly in the space.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
and why
bold,
not?
But you just need a bit of it. If you think of the longest view in your room is the diagonal, maybe it's a matter of just painting a square in the diagonal to increase that space out. Blues are recessive, so it will lengthen a space. It's a really good ceiling colour if you've got a very small room because it will give you a bit more height in the room.
Lovely.
Love it. I love it. You've kind of also answered this question. How far ahead do you work when forecasting colour trends?
So I feel like we've got another few years of these soft neutrals. Remember, neutrals used to be browns and beiges, and now
caramel.
Yeah, but now everyone thinks of soft pinks and sage greens as being neutrals, and I think we've got another few years of that. I don't think that's run its course, and so I'm kind of thinking 3 to 5 years down in terms of looking at this aging population, these cultural shifts. Where's that zeitgeist going to be, and how's it going to manifest itself? So it's a matter of, for our consumers that they're not ready for that yet, and it's about timing as well.
Yes, yeah.
And I think a lot of people could really benefit from using some of those softer, easier colours in a space. So I think, our job is to help make that decision easier and to give people the confidence to choose the colours that they love. And that is easier to do from a gentler palette.
Yes.
Well, so tell us, is there a colour trend emerging and you think, oh, my goodness, that is not going to last?
The American paint company, Sherwin-Williams, so Sue Walden, who is their director of colour marketing, did a campaign over the last 2 years called The Loneliest Colour.
Right.
And but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
They took their worst selling colour and built a beautiful campaign about it. And it was about how beauty is not determined by popularity. So therefore you have that narrative again. So they're able to take colours that no one else likes, wrap this beautiful story around it, present it in a different way.
I love that.
Take it to market.
What was it, out of interest?
It was, the first one was a sort of mustardy yellow, and then last year's was a lilac.
Okay, and I'm going to ask another question. How popular did that colour become after that?
Yes.
Exactly.
So it's hugely. So when you say to me, like, is there a colour that you dislike? No, I love them all.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I mean, bright red. That's hard. Don't use that.
Yeah, I'm not great.
She's not great with red.
But it's like it increases your heart rate. It increases your blood pressure. It's why they put it in fast food restaurants, because it increases your appetite.
Yes.
I think unless you're doing corporate branding or you've got significant wayfinding that you're trying to solve, those are the colours that I wouldn't advocate using willy-nilly.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I wouldn't use them, and I've been doing it for donkey's years.
Yes.
How do colours influence mood and the way we feel in a space?
Hugely. So there was this amazing study done at the 2019 Milan Design Fair by Google, and they designed 3 rooms, and each room was quite different. One was very modern. It had mirrors, sharp edges. One was very 70s. It was almost shag pile, and one was sort of neutral. And then they put bio readers, heart rate monitors on people. And they asked them what they thought of the room. And they took the notes, and they had to spend 20 minutes in these rooms walking around. There was objects and things they could pick up. And when they came out, there was a significant disconnect between the rooms that they thought they liked and the rooms that their bodies liked. Because we're programmed to believe that because we see white in every single paint company brochure, this is what we need. But it's not a comfortable space to live in.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was fascinating that the rooms that people were most comfortable in were the softer rooms, the gentler rooms. One of the things I find really frustrating is when people don't have the confidence to follow their gut with the colours, that they're too persuaded by fashion trends, by bright whites, which are very hard to live with.
I'm with you.
Sunglasses in your house.
I love hearing that you're saying this. I'm definitely with you on that.
Yep.
Because what are some of the most common mistakes people make when choosing colours, for their homes especially?
In my experience, people don't make mistake choosing colours. People make mistakes by not having the confidence to follow their instinct.
Okay, so again, going with their gut.
Going with their gut.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a beautiful Victorian terrace and you paint everything bright white, you lose all the architectural detailing.
Details.
And our southern light, it's like those bright whites are bad enough in the fog of London.
I was going to say that people don't consider the natural light or where it's coming from in the room, do they?
Oh, hugely.
When they consider paint colour.
And I'm sure you find as designers that I just wish people would just take a beat and look at their room and think about what the light's doing in that room. I think most people who choose colour are happy, and certainly in my experience, I've had very few repaints. But people tend to default to the white. They just find it overwhelming.
Yes, I agree. And that's why, we use people like you and us because we just enjoy it so much. We really can see, inside a person and what they think they like and what they think they don't like. But, coming to that happy medium, I think that's so important.
It's so satisfying.
And colour, it's so satisfying. Like, I personally just can't get enough of it.
I find the same thing. I find... because it's always the woman running the house and the children and the
generally it is
everything
in my house. Yes,
and I think it's good to be able to give a helping hand and create that environment that's relaxing, that she feels represents who she is.
Yeah.
You know, it's you're helping people. It's a social service, girls.
Is there a safe colour that almost always works as a base or backdrop in interiors?
I think anything that's muted. I love the colours that sit on the edge of a colour between two groups.
Yes.
They're always, something that's maybe a blue to someone else and a slight blue-grey.
Yeah.
Those colours that slightly defy definition. I always think those work really well. It's like go to your fan deck, and find those colours on the edge. And we really focused on that with Colour Planet. We really focused on building out those colours that transition from one hue group to another.
Right.
Because I always think that's the safest place to play. Just that gentle, muted.
Yeah, great. And if someone was wanting to experiment with a bold colour, let's talk about bold colours, but they're a bit nervous, where do you think or where do you suggest they start?
They should go and buy a vase.
Okay. Not paint a swatch on a wall like we say, inside and out.
I guess it depends on how you define, because I was thinking about this question, and I guess it depends on how you define bold. So if that's a high chroma colour, which for me is kind of your primaries, which are incredibly difficult to use effectively. But if you're thinking about a bold colour being something that just has a lot of depth of colour.
So I would say something like a magenta or a emerald green or a
so jewel-like.
Cobalt blue.
Yeah. I think I'm 100% with you. Then you paint it on the wall, you think about it, you see how it moves in the light. I think those colours are really usable.
Yeah.
And our fan deck, what we've called bolds, I might have to rethink about that.
Well, I've just made it up. I'm actually not you. This is not my job. I just love colour.
But I think those jewel tones are much easier to live with. And again, they're just they're a darker version. They're not a sort of single pigment.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of complexity in that pigment, in the pigment structure for those. I think with those colours, colour drenching, I think is just an awesome gift to the world.
Yes.
I so agree. Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah, it's great.
Because it gives what makes people nervous, and justifiably enough, is the idea of how do I coordinate all these colours, and then their brains explode. Where if you look at a jewel tone, it's perfect for a little jewel box. You can colour drench. You don't have to worry bringing other elements in.
Yes.
I think if people are interested in starting with colour and stronger or more saturated colour, I would always advocate either a kind of monochromatic scheme or a jewel box if they want to do that themselves. If they want to have contrasting trims and doors and ceilings.
Can you just explain jewel box?
So those jewel tones, those
cobalt blues, emerald greens,
and magenta, and at the Milan Design Fair, everything was in gloss.
Yes.
So I think
awesome.
when I think of that jewel box and you think of those gloss.
Awesome.
That gloss is totally having a moment.
Yeah, but this is great for your business, isn't it? So this colour drenching, these, jewel boxes, this is fantastic for you. And it's great for us as well because it makes our work so much more interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And when people see, what you can do with colour, it's like, oh, wow, there's a oh my gosh moment. So
You've just got to be brave enough.
Absolutely.
And I think not having to think about too many coordinating colours gives people that little bit more confidence to do that,
Yeah, agree. How do you work with interior designers and architects to help them choose or specify the right colours, if there is a right colour?
So for me, for the specifiers and designers, my job is to provide them with a really good foundational colour space because they're the colour experts in their fields. But what we need to provide them with is a colour space that covers everything that they need, a colour space where the colours work well together, where the fan deck flows well, where it makes sense, and that's rooted in science. So if I think of my customer segments, to put my work hat on, so I've got interior designers and then we've got retail and then we've got trade, and we talk to each of those groups differently, but we use that same foundational piece of work. And I don't need to tell interior designers and architects how to select colour. For the retail market, we'll take out a much more curated offer because it's too overwhelming for them. And trade essentially needs something to talk to their customers about. Right. So that's how we think about that. I mean, as I say, my father is an architect or was an architect. And so I love talking to architects, and I used to do a lot of lunch and learns. I did I used to bring the Le Corbusier palette in under license to the Le Corbusier Foundation in Paris. And so I'm really comfortable with that. But for me, that's just about educating them on what we have.
Yeah.
And then colour selection is over to them.
Okay, that
Amazing.
makes sense, yeah.
And what does sustainability or innovation play in the paints and finishes Haymes are developing?
So we look a lot at what's happening with pigment technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So there are pigments that reflect heat. There are pigments that absorb heat. There are pigments that bring serious attributes to product. So we look at that space. So for us, it's staying on top of the innovation. The lab team were at the European Coating Show, which is every 2 years the big European Coating Show. There's a lot of technology. So our entire head of lab and the lab team all went over to that. And so it's just staying on top of what's happening in the world.
Yeah, because it's such a big area now, isn't it? And, definitely people are looking at it, so much differently now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, look, it's great. Paint no longer gets you high. I mean, that's
right. Yeah, and how they say, like painters would have all this paint in the back of their vans.
Terrible for them.
Terrible.
Oh, so bad,
the paint factory in New Zealand, the guys would do the solvent base on a Thursday.
Yeah, right.
And then they'd go out on Thursday and they didn't come to work on Friday.
Yeah, no.
So we just moved solvent manufacturing to Friday.
So
That's hilarious.
But it is so much better now. And also,
Yes.
water-based enamels, that technology used to be terrible. The first one came out, it didn't level like oil does. But the technology is so good now.
Yes.
That I feel like advancements have been made in leaps and bounds in that space.
Yeah, well, it really did need to, didn't it?
yeah.
Without a doubt.
But at least it has.
It has, exactly. Phew.
Do you have a favourite colour in the current collection, one you personally love to live with?
Yeah, I do. So we've just done we've just increased our heritage palette from 47 colours to 112, and we've developed a mid-century palette.
Beautiful.
And the mid-century palette looks at a lot of Le Corbusier, it looks at Barragan. We look at the architects, what they were doing. I was in California for 4 years before I came here in 2019 with the family. So we spent a lot of time in the case study houses, what was happening there, a lot of time in Palm Springs. And that palette's sort of a representation of that. There is a colour in there called Copperstone, which is a soft terracotta, which I particularly love.
Beautiful.
And is very now.
Yes, it is,
Isn't
actually.
it?
It's a colour of nature.
Yeah.
Like it's been there. I'm pleased
it's never gone
moment.
anywhere for me,
right,
but it is very now. We're finding our clients talking to us about that a lot more, whether it is in paint or whether it's, in colours of furniture or in fabrics.
And I love the fact that, even when these colours have these moments and we can move on, there's always people that will always be their devotees.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, you guys are too young, but I remember, when everyone wore our hem lengths were sort of the same.
Yes.
And then everything changed and everyone could do anything they wanted. And
Yes.
I think we can introduce these trends to market and there'll be people that adopt them and they stay with them for life. And there'll be people that move on or it's not for them, you know?
Sure.
Just depending on a person's personality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then my next question would be, what colour do you think is underrated and deserves more attention then? Is there a colour that you think?
There's not. I think it's back to the loneliest colour.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's whatever appeals to you.
Yeah, I love that there is a place now for the loneliest colour.
Isn't it
makes
brilliant?
me so happy.
Oh, it's like getting out a violin.
You can, and I love the fact that beauty is not determined by popularity. In today's climate, it's like that is a good sentiment.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Yes, that is
Very
a very
true.
good statement.
If you could describe your personal colour philosophy in 3 words, what would it be?
Light, light, and light.
Ah.
So first of all, it's the light in the room.
Yes.
Then it's what are you doing in that room, and then it's test and try it.
Yep, that is.
Makes sense to me.
It just makes sense, doesn't it? When you say it out loud, it's what we do with our clients, each every room. But when you say it like that, it makes it so much clearer.
I just think it's a matter of observing the room, really look at the light, think about when you'll be in the room. I mean, I'm never in our bedroom in the middle of the day. I'm in there in the morning and the night. So for me, a dark, sexy colour that's going to make me look good naked is what I'm after.
I love it.
For me, this is a dark terracotta. But it may be different for each person. I mean, when we had young kids and I seemed to spend my entire life in the bedroom folding laundry or putting the kids down, then our room was a pale blue. It just felt fresh.
Yeah,
so I think
sure.
you've got to take all those things into consideration.
Depending on the stage of life.
100%, and it changes.
Yeah.
The what you want to do in your bedroom or in any room in your house.
Let's not get too personal.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Well, I think you've already gone there, Rachel. I think we've gone beyond Chrissy.
I also think it's also hugely about testing it. Like I just wish people just take a breath, look at the light. Is it artificial light? Are you relying on sunlight? And then just try it. And I'm sure you say the same to your clients. People go to big box or to a paint store and they pick up a paint chip. Like you need to get a sample pot and you need to put it generously on your walls. Put it where the light hits it. Put it in the shadow. A really good place to trial a colour is in a corner because you'll see the light and dark in two different ways.
Yes.
And if you do that with 2 or 3 colours, the colour will talk to you. What you like will become apparent.
Yes.
As opposed to trying to look at 3 different chips and lighting that you'll never see that colour in.
Yeah.
And just take the time and have the confidence and take a breath and relax about it.
And as you said before, your gut feeling, go with it.
Makes me feel a bit sad for all these multi-apartment developments that's just all mass-produced, all the same. Sad, isn't it?
It is sad.
I think it's just confidence.
Yeah.
I always find it, people like it when they have this kind of eclectic taste in music, or they've got some band you've never heard of, or they've discovered some restaurant, but it comes to colour and everyone just defaults to safe.
Yes.
Like
So
you can express
true.
yourself there as well.
Absolutely.
You've just got to be brave enough and have the confidence to do it.
And give yourself the time.
Or get a designer to help you to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, we've got a little myth buster for you today. Dark colours make a room feel smaller.
True or false?
Predominantly false. Painting a room a dark colour doesn't make the walls move in. But again, I think back to that point of looking at the room and the light in the room. I find it curious now. Like I'm sure you guys have noticed, but hotel rooms are now 15 to 18 square metres.
Yes.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
They used to be 25,
Correct.
30 square metres. But what's curious is all these smaller sort of mid-priced hotel rooms, none of them are white.
No, they're saturated
because
in colour.
Otherwise they look like cells.
Yeah.
And so you can see that. I mean, if you're really unsure, go and stay at the Ace in Sydney or any halfway decent hotel that's got a small room because none of them are white.
And everybody walks out of those places. Who has ever said, I didn't like that hotel room?
Always lovely. And there's nowhere to put your makeup bag, let alone your actual suitcase.
The most unfunctional spaces.
Exactly, but they make you feel good.
I had to step around my suitcase to get out the door. But God, it was a great room. The colours,
the experience.
the burgundies.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel good.
It makes you
Yeah,
feel
it did.
good.
It really did.
And so we all get that feeling. So go with your gut feeling.
Yeah. We've also got our quick fire round.
Yep.
You can answer it with one word or you can go for it in a sentence. White walls, timeless or boring?
Oh, boring.
Bold colour, walls or just accents?
Walls, colour drenching.
Love it. Cool tones or warm tones?
For me, always warm tones.
Neutrals or brights?
Neutrals.
One paint colour you'd never use?
Bright red.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you on
Chrissy's with you.
or bright yellow. They did this survey where they put bright yellow in bedrooms and it made children cry more.
Oh, is that right?
It's a lot. I mean, I think it has its place.
It definitely has its
But you have
place.
to understand kind of colour psychology, I
Yeah.
think, to get into those brights. They understand I think you need a designer to help you do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's all about how it makes you feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
For sure.
Rachel, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us. Colour can be very overwhelming, but you've made it feel exciting and approachable.
Yeah, we love how you've reminded us that paint isn't just about walls. It's also about your mood, it's about energy and your personality. And I think we've all got a little bit braver after listening to you.
If you'd like to see more of Rachel's work and the Haymes colour collections, we'll share the link in our show notes.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, hit follow, share it with a friend and tell us what you think about colour and what's inspired you to
Try next.
try next. Exactly. So thanks for listening and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much,
Thanks for
Rachel.
having
You're
me,
awesome.
Rachel.
That was so good.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to get in touch, email us on thedesignduet@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram page, The Design Duet.